Dear all, it seems that we're going to have some sort of exam before the end of the year, and I just wanted to go through some of the things that you need to prepare in year 8 to be ready for this exam and to do well. I've got here the knowledge organizer for all the terms. I'm just going to put all of this available for you on Teams, but just having a quick look at it, I've got it here as a PDF file, which I will email to you. Sorry, I'll put on Teams for you guys. We've got the first term here, and these are some of the things that you need to be able to do, guys, to do well in the exam and to show that you actually have made good progress this year. Now, we start a little bit with introductions. You can see here, me llamo, vivo en, tengo 11, 12, 13 años. Also, we look into how to say, how you write things in Spanish, if you remember, how to spell your name. So you're going to need the alphabet a little bit. And remember, there are some songs available for that on YouTube. We'll look into some of them. If you need some links, please let me know, and I'll email that to you. So these are the kind of things that we need to be revising. And here on the right-hand side, in the Knowledge Organizer, you've got some actually examples of how you can do this. For instance, you got the key questions: ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? ¿Dónde vives? Where do you live? And then you got some model answers here. You know all this, obviously, because it's in the Knowledge Organizer. So just to remind you some of the things you need to study. This is for part of term 1. Then we move on to term 2, and in term 2, which we did that in term 1 too, basically, but well, this is part of the things that you need to prepare, guys. This is where we studied different school subjects. We talked about school. Remember, the verb here is estudiar, estudio, I study. We look at verbs in the present tense. En clase leo y escucho. In class I listen, I read. Then we also look into how to describe teachers. El profesor de español es divertido. Me gusta la geografía, the subjects that you like. We look into some adjectives, etc. Now, so the key things that you need to be doing here is be able to describe school subjects. Say what you do in lessons. So, for instance, I read, I talk, I write. Describing your teachers. For that, you're going to need some adjectives. Giving opinions and reasons, again, adjectives, and talking. We're also looking a little bit into talking into snacks, if you remember. Now, all this vocabulary will be available for you for instance, in the workbook. At the end of each chapter, you got the vocabulary. Also, you have this in your books, obviously. And these are the key questions that you need to be answering, guys. ¿Qué estudias? What subjects do you study? ¿Qué haces en clase? What do you do in class? What subjects you like? Describe your teachers, and maybe a little bit about snacks too might come up in the exam. And then here you go some examples. Odio la geografía, no me gusta mi profe de matemáticas porque es aburrido, etc. Okay, now the next one we need to look into is the topic on describing people. So we described members of our family. Tengo una hermana, I've got curly hair. You remember we did all that, and this is actually going to be an important part in the exam, guys, and in the resources. So it's very likely that you're going to have to work on this. You're going to have to do this in the exam, so be ready for that. Yeah. Now, for here, you're going to be describing yourself and other members of the family. You're going to use the possessive adjectives: my brother, my sister, mi hermano, mi hermana. Now, you are going to be using adjectives, and you're going to be describing physical appearance. Now, the key answers that you need to answer are ¿de qué color son tus ojos? ¿De qué color es tu pelo? You remember? Tengo el pelo rizado. Tiene el pelo corto y rizado. You remember we study all this in class. So have a quick look at it. And the revision resources that I'm uploading with this, you could also be able to do some work on this. Okay, now the next one we need to look into is when you describe your locality, you describe where you live. If you remember, we created a paper house and we labeled the rooms in Spanish. So this could be quite important during the exam. It's one of the key parts, as well as describing people. So make sure you go through this vocabulary, guys. So basically it's describing the rooms in the house, saying where your house is. So vivo en una casa en la costa, en el campo, etc. Say what is in your house, in your flat, que hay en tu casa, describing the rooms, as I said. What is que hay arriba, what is upstairs, que hay abajo, what's downstairs. And also, if you remember, we work a little bit with the interactive, with the mini whiteboards, with the prepositions. Next to the wardrobe is this, under the table is that. So have a look at the prepositions, because that requires a bit of work. Try to memorize the prepositions. Make sure you work on that too. Okay? Right, prepositions and everything. Moving on to the next bit. That would be what you say, what you do in your spare time. This is when I believe we just started this, guys, and the school closed. So you've been working a bit remotely on this. So make sure you go to the vocabulary. It's not a particularly difficult topic. It's saying what you do in your spare time, voy a la piscina, etc. Now, you've got a couple of irregular verbs like ir, voy, vas, you need to learn. And make sure you go through the vocabulary, what you do in your spare time. When you're talking, for instance, about sports, it's quite straightforward. The vocabulary is very similar to English, but make sure you're okay. You can say juego, practico, etc. Remember that. Now, and finally, if you can have a look at it, at the last bit, here, what you've got here is saying what you do in your spare time is developing that a little bit more, it's just using a little bit what you learned throughout the year and putting it all together. But you've been mostly working on your own on this. So you could have a quick look at this, but obviously we haven't spent much time in class working on that. But at the end of the day, it's just putting everything together, guys. Now I've got another video where I'm going to go through the revision resources, and I'm going to explain what I need you to do there preparing for the exam. Okay.